Okay, so it's finally time to get gates installed. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here this morning. It is Sunday, March 15th, 2020. So we're continuing our series on our farm fencing, and today is finally the day we get to install a couple of gates. So we're going to go ahead and walk you through the steps of getting 2 of our 3 gates installed today. So here we are, we're actually at the front of kind of the maintenance entrance to the farm. We've shown you this section before. You'll see this side here would actually be the west side of the property. Our property marker is right there. This is where we'll take wood chip deliveries and that kind of thing through here. So of course, everywhere behind us here is almost completely fenced in. But what we're going to try to get accomplished today is the 2 gates that will be along this road leading back to the back portion of the farm. So now we talked a little bit about supplies for today, but let's go ahead and go over that again. So I'm going to go ahead and link our supply video here. We talked a little bit about the different supplies we were going to be using in order to get all of our fencing installed. Today what we're going to be working with would be our 6-foot utility gates. So these we got from Tractor Supply, and right now we have 4 of the 6 that we're going to need. Right now we're having a hard time tracking down the last 2 that we need because for whatever reason there's been a run on gates and we really don't know why. However, we've got 4 of the 6 that we need, which will allow us to get this side done. So now, of course, what we are going to need in addition to this will be a few different tools that we do have, and then obviously we need to make sure we can get this level. So one of the things that we kept from the home build was several different runs of 2x4. So what I'm going to do real quick is run over to that pile, grab one of the long ones and cut it into sections for us today so that can help us get these things level. Okay, so we've got our wood blocks here, we've got our fencing here, I've got my tools, so I think we have everything that we're going to need. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually run to the back of the section here where you enter the farm, get on that back side and install those 2 fences first, because this will be the first time Lori and I have ever done this. So we're really not exactly sure what it's going to look like. We figure if it's a little herky-jerky, we'd rather have it be in the back side of this road than the front side leading into the property. So we're going to go ahead and slide back to the back of this road and start from there this morning. So here we are, we're at the back portion of this road leading to the back 40, basically, where we'll eventually have cattle. We're going to get these fences up here first. So again, disclaimer, not professionals, first time we've ever done this, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, so here we are. We've kind of had it. We have an idea now about the height of the gate. Now we have, the way these are designed, we have an adjustable bracket up here. So we know we can move this top bracket up and down as needed. However, this one here is gonna stay. So it's welded in place. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and place our bottom bolt so we know exactly where the gate is gonna attach here. And then we can get a more accurate measurement of where we need to come up here. And again, we can always actually slide this up or down in order to place nice and snug. So we're gonna go ahead and get this bottom bolt in here first. Okay, so we got that done. So you can see now I can adjust this But ultimately what we did is we used a 1/2-inch bit. You saw me use one of those, I don't know, paddle bits or whatever they are with a longer shank. I just wanted to make sure that I had it nice and straight. So I used a level on that longer shank just to make sure I was going in at a straight angle, and then came back through with just a normal 1/2-inch drill bit, drilled it the rest of the way out. Then what I did is I just took a wrench and basically used some leverage to get this guy driven into this post. Now I can put it in further, but I think we might be okay. We'll kind of gauge that based on the next fence here in just a moment. But now what we need to do is we need to estimate about where we need to be here. So already looking at this, I can see that I've got a wire here against the fence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unhook this latch here, or this bracket here, drop it down here, and we'll put our fence post, our second fence screw, nail, whatever this thing's called. We're going to put a second one down here so we can go ahead and get this thing nice and level. So Lori and I are going to do some measurements, get this thing taken off, and see if we can get the second one in here and get this gate placed. Okay, so I think we've got this one done. So Lori kind of did a zoom, but we wanted to make sure we were nice and level. That's the biggest thing we're finding out here is while we think a certain thing is level, it's not, because we've got, while it's pretty flat, there's a lot of kind of rolling hills that are throughout the property. And even here with the gates, we know that side's going to probably be a little bit higher, or at least we think it's going to, but it doesn't really matter. We want to make sure the gate's level. So we did make a couple of adjustments. We did decide to move this bracket up versus down. We figured having these more spread apart would give a little more stability to the fence itself. It does swing nice and easy, which is good to see, and I'm staying nice and level as we go. We also did notice that we had to, basically, in order to get to level, we had to actually move this bracket an extra turn, or this bolt an extra turn, in order to make the fence level here when they're together. So now what we need to do is we need to do this exact same thing with the fence on the other side. So Lori and I are going to go ahead and get to work, get that one up, and let's see how it looks when we're done. And so like that, we're done. Very easy to get that taken care of. I'll tell you what, again, using that level is really key. Need to just make sure you're keeping everything straight, even though there are times it doesn't look like it actually is. So either way, that's done. We've got it chained up here. Overall, I think it looks pretty good, especially for the first time ever. So now, of course, what we need to do is do this exact same thing up at the front. Of course, up at the front, aesthetically, that's where it all really counts. So we're going to go ahead and get everything packed up, head back up to the front of the house, and do this one more time to make sure this road is secure. Okay, so like that, we're done. Now, it took a little bit more work to try to get even. We're still gonna make some minor adjustments here. Even though we're actually even, it doesn't appear that way. So I think what we're gonna do is some small adjustments on some of the brackets to see if we can get it to appear a little bit more even. But overall, I think we did a pretty good job on getting these up. And at the very least, we're gonna be able to keep cattle up. So, still got things to do. We have another one of these gates that we need to go over and install on that far side. We're gonna check Tractor Supply, see whether or not they have a supply of a couple of those gates for us today so we can get that one installed. And we still need to get that cowboy fencing installed on the side of the house. And looks like they have our gates in stock. Thank goodness. Now do they have the rest of our posts? And it looks like they've got the posts we need to finish up here as well. Very cool. Looks like we're picking something up at Tractor Supply today. All right, so as you can see, we were able to get to Tractor Supply today. The Wickenburg location came through for us. It's the only one that's had our gates and our big posts. So we picked all those up. So a couple other things we need, and it will actually probably be able to get done fencing. Either way, we still need to work on these gates. So we got our other two gates. We'll be able to seal all the gates up here. So Lori and I are gonna go ahead and get back to work, get these other two gates installed. So like that, we're done. So we have our third gate in, and at this point we have the gates essentially on every part of the property that we can seal in now, with the exception of one. Now we are finding that we want to make little adjustments here. So obviously this area back here, in fact where Lori's standing now, would be our livestock acre, and then of course this acreage over here will eventually be for larger livestock like cattle. So the idea obviously is to keep cows out of here, but ultimately this will be a livestock gate as well. So we will have some traffic here. If we need to remove livestock or we're adding livestock in, we will use this side of the farm to bring them in. Either way, this is now able to be sealed off, so we are one step closer to having this done. Now, one more thing that we need to try to get done today as far as gates. We need to try to shore up the space between our temporary fencing, you can see it from here, our temporary fencing that leads up to the house. We've got about an 8-foot gap that we need to fill. Very, very temporary fencing. So I don't know what it's called. It's called cowboy fencing or ranch fencing. I'm not sure. Either way, we're gonna go put up a very, very simple, basic gate that we can open and close if we need to. So we're gonna try to figure out how to do this and what we're gonna do. We'll show you as we go through it. Okay, so here we are at the last spot that we need to try to figure out a gate for. So here are my thoughts. You guys have probably seen these before. So we have this T-post here. We drove that into the ground almost 2 feet, about 1.5 feet. It's a 7-foot T-post, and it's just under 6 feet or so now. I have one of your standard tree stakes, your treated wood tree stakes. That's this here. And I have some leftover, I think that's 12 gauge wire that's a little more pliable. So my thought was to basically attach this post here with that wire, and then we can run high tensile wire, 3 or 4 strands over to that post, and we can actually use that as just a temporary gate. Because remember, all of this is just temporary until our outbuilding comes in, which will be right behind Lori. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get to work, see if we can put all this together and see whether or not it works in the end. Okay, so we're done. Definitely no work of art, not at all. So we have a couple of stays. We put a couple stays in there just to kind of even out the strands. Very easy to move this, very lightweight. Now, again, extremely temporary. I know this is no quality work by any means. A lot more proud of the rest of the fencing around the farm, but we needed to shore up this gap, and we really wanted it to be very easy to get in and out. And I think this is going to basically do the job. Now, of course, if we have any issues with cows pushing this down, which is very possible. I mean, I get a big, even small cow that pushes up against this, it's going to probably just plow right over. So we can come back, add T-posts in here, and get some type of additional fencing here and just not actually have a gate. But we wanted to give us a chance to be able to get around this corner if we really wanted to. So for now, this is going to do. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for today. So we have all of our gates installed. At this point now, we're just at the mercy of the front of the property. So you can see the final product here behind us, and as Lori pans that way, all we have left to get fenced is the space between here and the house. Now the majority of this is the front entryway to the home. The majority of this will be 2 strands basically of a metal fence post that'll look like a traditional farm fencing or ranch fencing. We'll have that the majority of the way here. Where it ends, which is about even with the coop and run in the back, we'll continue barbed wire with wood posts only, so that way that matches all the way in through here. At that point, we'll have the entire property fenced, at least everything that we're ready to grow in. Now, there is really one more thing. Besides this area here that still needs to be completed, we do need to get fence stays installed throughout the entire barbed wire area. But again, that's not going to be for today. That's coming up soon. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, it helps to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. Somebody's laying. Oh, it looks like the shutter thing is not opening all the way.